Deshima by Mamu ina jo e mama akwa ba enwumre edmo ba KFM TV so enwumre emre aso sensema yabo ano efie man mu ne yedninia ebesum se no nsia kase e wo KFM TV ne so enwumre nsem no edos ye papa na de bedi mu akotine ebi ene se Ghana mampani His Excellency John Dramani Mahama endrada wode abetudwa wo chem se si ade eye African deportees verse 14 ana sesi ade wo masan ebepie mu e wo my Ghana ha enu US eye wo mo President Trump ebesi so no ye de mu ntwe mu e de bebro enyumre san enso so ana aboso kan eye spare part dealers ende de wo mo ne nutak for ehiem a wo mo e kasa e de fa eye foreigners a wo mo pese wo mo pammo no wo mo akasa e de afa hwan no so ye de mu ntwe mu ye de ebeba besum wo enyumre ye de dwede ensem enso ebeka ho edi ama mampani John Dramani Mahama chemu se Bank of Ghana se si ade okopie mu ewo forest market a eyade a wo mu eyi wo mu ho edi efrima ye bedomu esuko edi ama enyume we ni jede ensem no National Film Authority wo mu ebehodi wo mu first National Film Dialogue wo September bosumene da etosu du insia emu anyume ye de mu nchemu ye de ebeba besum we ni sem ene afufropi ayabo ano eye me okenkan foi me de ebeso mu se no nsia kase e wo KFM TV ne so me kai wo se nwumre nsem dwume ko bi adaruma no mo so masne ma me de ebro ye de asida kase ebekwa ma KFM Musical Center wo mo eton instruments bi ase ye combo guitar microphone drum set speaker nini anu KFM Musical Center ebenya bi edi ama oba nan ekopie mu ewa santemantema wo mo ewadum wo mo ne Sambra Hotel no ana ebon hwe nimsa enso ananyume talent microfinance enso yesika krabia aba ebo anipadodo na mo musika sem ejina ne nan so brane so yan kwankwa nyume konsori sorry school for na mo pa bia yedi musika esie mo de talent nkwa ana medium ho adanse ede ya mo enyume dada batek up enso eton phones ene ho akadebia Infinix iPhone Samsung jam nini anu benye bi ewo dada batek up jumeko we adaruma ana omobo mechi ma me de no si akaski me de ebeso mo kenkan fo a enyume woti menka no edin a meje so ene Maame Esi Nkrumah me da ne me ho sima ba me ba nsem no me sha ase adi ama Adeshima ba yeguso a emama kwa ba edamasi se enwume mu guso etmu TV ho amohwe no nsia kase ewo KFM TV ne so mekoso eka wo se enwume nsem no etwego ewo Abel Fontentan fidie ne so Facebook any YouTube KFM TV GH eno ti betimi akoho no wahwe bi na wa share na wa like na wa dwenche no so udi egu ase ama me kama mebe ma me kan ni a ede ama enwume me hye nsem na se ede ama odia endrada ana Ghana mampani His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ebo ne homodin ene nsem twofo a womo ewo my Ghana ha ehia edi nkomo de womo edi biye papa na eno ana odi abetudwa wo chem se si ade wo hwe reviews ene be ya trade regulation ni titu ene Ghana Investment Promotion Center no betimi akoso ye papa ma foreign investors ahodo no womo so metimi aba Ghana hana Ghana yenso yetimi akoyenim ewo djuma ene yesika sem emune sema wodi etu dwane nyume ye to aso ediamo.
With regards to the GIPC Act, you know, when we are living in a new environment, we have the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, we have the African Continental Free Trade Area that wants us to open our markets to each other. And so the former protective regime is changing. And so we need to review the GIPC Act to be able to take cognizance of that. And aside from that, there's limited foreign direct investment in the whole world. And so you need to place yourself in a position where you're able to attract as much foreign investment as possible. So when you put a barrier of $1 million, there are people who, with $500,000, can open a manufacturing establishment. But because you say he must show $1 million of transferred capital into the country, then you shut out that investor. And that's why, as part of the GIPC review, we're removing the minimum requirement so that anybody who wants to come and set up a business in Ghana to provide employment for our people is welcome to come. But that is different from the issue of the markets. And so there's advocacy that we should review that issue with markets. The current law restricts retail sector to only Ghanaians. And there are people who argue that it's anti-competition and so many other things. But of course, in most countries, you want to reserve a certain portion of the economy for your people. And so Parliament is going to look at it, and eventually whatever law they pass is what we have to live with. I never
and Ghana man penny His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wodi etubia enyumere enso ye de bi abesomo na wosan editu dwa bi mo wo chese ukopie mo ewo US mine member Donald Trump obesi so se man penny ewo US mine mo no eye Africa fo bebre na no deport omo ewo hosa man penny John Dramani Mahama edi abetu dwa wo chem se hesi ade eye Africa fo a West African eye nationals a womo every US mine mu no abano womo eye du and 914 na womo chem se Nigeria for dodo na na womo ana kopim o Gambia so a nipa baako ana womo asankofo no sesi ade womo every US mine mu a womo ekwo womo eman mu wodin same way etudwa e wo media encounter no ase.
First we were slapped with 10% tariff that was increased to 15%, and then we're included in 36 countries that were going to be placed on a visa ban. But in the meantime, all 5-year visas were cancelled, and we were restricted to single entry 3 months. It shows the tightening situation in our foreign relations, but I do think that we still enjoy good relations with the United States of America. We were approached by the US to accept third-party nationals who were being removed from the US. And we agreed with them that West African nationals, were acceptable because all our fellow West Africans don't need a visa to come to our country. So if they decided to travel from US to Accra, they don't need a visa anyway. So if you're bringing our colleague West Africans back, I mean, that's okay. And so I think that agreement has been activated, and a first batch of 14 nationals came. Several of them were Nigerian brothers. They opted to go back home, and so we facilitated, we put them on buses, to be able to go back home. One of them was a Gambian who it's not as easy. You have to get him an air ticket to be able to facilitate his travel. So what we've done is contacted their embassy to let them know of his presence so that they can facilitate his return to Gambia. And so that's the issue with regards to deportations and arrivals. West Africa has the protocol of free movement, and so any West African is free to come to Ghana and be able to stay for 90 days. And so if they decide to bring them, I mean, we don't have a problem accepting.
Ghana man penny His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wono anodin semwe etudwa na wone kase mu no ananipa dodo na semtwofo no bi ebisa se wo mu enya nti yese eye mining miche galam se ekoso ha ndie excavators ahodo mo jejejeje no abeto dwase ana mo enya nti yese excavators ni bi wo ha mo jejeje no omo asan edini akoma wo mura emo eno anamampani eyi ano a wo chim se sansem a etwegu ewo my Ghana no kwabia enim excavators a mo gigiye na nini a ho wo mo fa ba kompo enkoma ni ra enu tusi sansem ni bia na wabo atwegu sansem no kwabia eni sansem no emo wasan edin semwe etuja.
All the dealers that you cannot load an excavator onto a ship until you have gotten a permit. In the meantime, a lot of excavators have arrived at the port. And recently, somebody said they were being released at midnight to their owners and things. That's not true. What happens was there were so many that they had occupied a huge area of the port and congested the port. And so we found the land near Shire Hills, near the military installation. And the Field Engineers Regiment and others have been given charge to move the excavators from the port to that area so that they can free up space in the port. And they do that in the night because of traffic in the daytime. So in the night, they have the payloaders moving the excavators out of the port to the designated areas where they are supposed to be held. And before any of those excavators is released, they must be tracked, they must have a tracker on them, they must be registered by the owner of the excavator, and we must know the purpose for which the excavator has been imported. Because the construction industry also imports excavators, and so you cannot put a blanket ban on importation of excavators just because you think that every excavator is going to go into the illegal mining industry. Even the big mining companies that have licenses import excavators. And so we want to know who is importing the excavators, who it is going to. We want to be able to put a tracker on it and be able to trace that excavator wherever it is in the country.
Mampeni John Dramani Mahama wono ano de sansem we na etu dwane no ano san echem biom se oba Ghana ha hospitality sector na wa Ghana ha no abeto dwa se sene omofa ebo adwuma no eno ensu eni na sesi ade kokobo na ode kwa mom so ombo omhomode embo adwuma sene be ya Ghana ye tourism sector no ebetimi akonenim ye papa edi ama esan se Ghana ye bia bi abibia no ni pa foforo efi omoman mo eba ha se nu ntia wo se ye hospitality sector no etimi ekonenim ye papa na adwuma wo mo eye wo no wo mo enye ni ye enfama o my Ghana se ne be ya ebetimi aboa yenya.
We must identify what the tourist sites are, improve their attractiveness, and also improve the service delivery. One of the things that affects tourism in Ghana and West Africa is that our service is poor. You go to a restaurant and they think that they are doing you a favor. You go to eat and they think that you owe them, to serve you. If you go to other parts of the world, it's completely different. You are compelled to spend your money because they are all over you. Even before you finish the drink that they have given you, you are halfway. Can I bring you another drink? And if you are the shy type and things, you always say, oh, yes, yes. And you forget that you have to pay for it. And so we must improve our service delivery. Owners of services must take professionals who know how to be courteous to customers, to know that we are in this job because you've come here to eat or you've come here to do this. And so that's one of the drawbacks of our whole tourism experience. And most times you spend so much money, set up an establishment, instead of going for professionals, you go and haul your relatives from the village to come and serve people. They pay and they can't even get their change. You can't find the waiter who took your money. And when you even find them, he says, oh, we have no change. I mean, they have a certain sense of entitlement. And so until we reform all these, and it's an attitudinal problem, until we reform all these, and people who own these establishments make sure that service delivery is at near 100%, we would not be able to attract enough tourists into our country. We have a beautiful country. People come and, they just say, look, this country is good. But if you hear a lot of the feedback and you say, oh, but what is negative about it? Oh, your service is not the best. Always, that's the feedback that comes. But the government will do its part. Government has the responsibility for making sure the infrastructure is good. And we're starting with the road, making sure that we dualize the road all the way to Cape Coast and Central Region so that people can travel easier to go and enjoy the tourist attractions.
Ghana man penny His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Dradan Ma wani nsɛmtwo fo hyan de nsɛm de wodi bi egu kwan mu ye papa wo san eyi sansɛm a etwego ewo Ghana ha san man penny John Dramani Mahama anhwa 2028 abato ibeto o man Ghana ha no wo be san asta ni biom ne tetem no eno ana we be yi ano wo chem se sa de ensi de san se Ghana constitution no enye ono no twroye enye ono so no ye na ye hwe na was a supreme leader ewo Ghana ha na obetimi asesa constitution wo che se bibisa ensi se ne 4 years a wo twei esia na che se na no apem won san engina se mampani biom ewo my Ghana ha ne semwe ana osan edituja.
Said I'm in danger of becoming a supreme leader. Look in my face, do I look like a supreme leader? And that is to paraphrase Prof. Star. At Mills, do I look like a cat hunter? Do I look like a supreme leader? I'm a Democrat true and true. And even when we attained 2/3 of parliament, I said that we're not going to use it to ride roughshod over the minority, and that we're going to give opportunity for democracy to flourish. And so we don't intend to use our 2/3 majority to steamroll our democracy. We believe that even though the people of Ghana gave us that overwhelming majority, it wasn't meant to turn Ghana into a dictatorship. They gave it to us in order that we could carry out reforms to make our governance better. And I think that we stand a very good chance with that 2/3 majority to finally move the amendments to the Constitution that we have all wanted. In the past, because of hung parliaments and all that, we couldn't make any progress, because there are some of those amendments for which you need an overwhelming majority. And so Ghanaians have given us that opportunity and say, look, go ahead and do these things so that we can have a better constitution that will take Ghana for many more generations to come. And so that's what I believe. But I certainly am not on the way to becoming a supreme leader or an autocrat. Yendi and Tama.
Same way etudwa endrada emra woni eyensem chofo shaya woni omotwetwe nkomo na eyensem bisan de ekoso ye papa omosem bisan se ande Ghana galamsey no eyade a yina ye hwe se ye beku etia na galamsey enam sema nipa be sen wotwe de womo ato ananan ewon siedo a enam helicopter crash so heto ananan ewon siedo no mu bisan se kwan be no mo fa so galamsey womo ebe so ano anase kwan ben ni hyehye ebe no mo hwa eso galamsey na ni sisi atibia ben no mo ye wom a eye fa eso galamsey na no anamampeni John Dramani Mahama iya no wo chem se galamsey ni de eyade a womo ebo mo humodin ye papa sesi a woni ye ka se nipa be se 1400 amoye galamsey wo my Ghana hanansa aso mo a womo etwe aban ekukum na excavators de emu be se 440 ano mwetimi agigi edi efisa nkofo we ina ho na galamsey na yade bia womo bom humodin ye papa se won betimi ahwe na ano etimi abrase e wo my Ghana se ne be ya yensuo ene yensase no eno so eho ebetimi ejina den ede aman na bibibia akoso e wo my Ghana ha.
Ethical governance and institutional coordination. My fellow citizens, the scourge of galamsey is receiving much attention. We established the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, as the Central Operations Command Center coordinating the national fight against illegal mining and its associated environmental degradation. In a coordinated effort across all security agencies and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, 440 excavators have been seized. Over 1,400 arrests have been made, with suspects awaiting prosecution. Over 300 Shamfang machines have been confiscated and destroyed. Over 900 water pumps seized from illegal mining sites have been handed over to the Ministry of Agriculture for distributing to farmers for irrigation purposes. Of Ghana's 288 forest reserves, 44 had previously suffered varying degrees of destruction from illegal mining. Notably, 9 of those reserves had become no-go zones due to the presence of armed groups. Through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and with support from the security agencies, we've successfully repossessed all 9 of these red-zoned forest reserves. However, over the weekend, the Jimira Forest Reserve and the Anria Futu section of the Offense Shelter Belt was re-invaded by illegal miners after these were handed back to the Forestry Commission. The military is currently working with NIMOS to repossess those reserves and establish a permanent presence in those liberated forest reserves to prevent re-incursion by illegal miners. 980 personnel have been recruited, trained and deployed in the western and savannah regions. They conduct daily operations on major river bodies, serving as community vanguards to ward off illegal mining activities. An additional 1,020 personnel will be recruited and deployed by the end of the year, bringing the total force to 2,000 blue water guards.
Na efutua etwato amampeni John Dramani Mahama wodima Ghana for ina ne se Ghana eye corruption meche katasehye ene proya ekoso my Ghana no womo ehwe akon etia ne nia edi aboaye na womo a womo di omo ho egi corruption mu meche katasehye ne proye no wobehwe ama Ghana mra no ene sankofo ne nia edi ye papa na ya aboaye ho na yetimi aso corruption ano ewo my Ghana se ne be betimi aboa ma bibia no oman no etimi akonenim edi amaye.
My friends, I understand that public accountability and the recovery of looted state resources are at the top of your expectations from my government. And let me assure you, my fellow citizens, that we've not wavered in our commitment for even a moment. Neither have we been complacent. What you are witnessing is not inaction, it is our steadfast adherence to due diligence, due process, and fairness in the pursuit of justice. Yes, our insistence on doing things the right way may afford those who have looted this country some temporary relief, but let me be clear, it will not grant them permanent escape. Across multiple fronts, active pursuits and prosecutions are well underway under the Operation Recover All the Loot. Over 200 cases are under active investigation, with about 80 people interrogated so far. Several prosecutions have begun, progressing steadily and remaining firmly on course. In the Republic versus Edoubois and 3 others, the state has submitted witness statements together with all other documents, and trial has commenced. And the first of 3 prosecution witnesses have been called and have been cross-examined by counsel for the accused person. With the SkyTrain case, for instance, the prosecutors have secured a trial date, as all preliminary matters have been concluded and the trial is set to commence. For the National Service Authority case, due to its expansive nature, charges have been drafted and will be filed as soon as the legal year begins against the following person: the Republic versus Osei Sibe, the Republic versus Eric Nyaku, the Republic versus Gifty Owari. Also for the National Cathedral, we are awaiting a forensic audit from the Auditor General. Additionally, charges have been drafted and are ready for filing in the case of Republic versus Wuntumi and Akunta Mining. The Economic and Organized Crime Office, IOCO, is finalizing its report with respect to Exim Bank transactions. Dockets are in preparation for the buffer stock case and the drip equipment case.
Ebusiafo nti Ghana man penny His Excellency John Dramani Mahama semwe enodi tudwa endra demra woni semtwofo ina hia woni wo mo etwetwe nkomo sema wode etudwa no na KFM TV yenso nwumri yede bi abesomo na yeto asem ne so edo akonsem fufuro dia anka ne man penny dada abedi etwe Dr. Mahmoud Baumia was signed a aspirant edema the New Patriotic Party NPP amenyuko no ewo 2028 abato aye beto ewo my Ghana ha no ana wode abetudwa wo chem sese yankopon boa no na 2028 abato ebeto my Ghana ha nkunimdie ekoma no na wo beye mampeni ewo my Ghana ha obebo ne humodin ye papa and the boshe kese no de ma Ghana fa wo chese eye constituency based budgeting framework no eyade a obebo ne humodin asesa no elde cooperative afufoma eno ebema Ghana yesikasem etimi akonenim ye papa edi aman na Ghana wo hu se yesikasem ekonenim a eno ene boa mo man no etimi etumpanu nti oba wonde obehwe amasade we na wetimi asesa edi amaye
adwemfufuro bi so eba in Ghana me pese me movie a budgeting framework no from the current framework no to a constituency based budgeting framework. So constituency be able no budget no, so that the management of the budget will come at the constituency level. So you have contracts who say we contract Bosumi from and I say Bosumchi and I say Odotobri and I say we. So you manage it from there. So constituency based budgeting no a bit pejamunina. A bema constituencies no ahodin na itimidi aye ejuma.
Nunti mampeni dada abedieche Dr. Mahmood Bawumia sema wodi etu dwane na enwumre de bi ebesomo na ye de wo konsem fufumu edia eye ankane asen central march bedwani Kennedy Japan wono so edia betu dwa wo chim se senkunimdie ekoma no no so na otimi weye mampeni a yade a obone homoden ato eye plastic manufacturing company na eye $3.25 US as kapudo we ana watam edi ato manufacturing company a wo chese eno eyade bia bebua ma Ghana for mu ho etimi ahen hayomo eno ti wo chese eye abato ebeto no wo mu hwe na wo monto enfama no wo be presidential candidate enfama the New Patriotic Party NPP ameni kono na nkunimdie mapa entimi enkoma
plastic bottles. My name is to show video no chira plastic bottles we Indian company bi papa ni so wanya 90 years wabre oko enti me yonku bi na se me yanko he se metwa na me nim ene ye koy na ye koy no bi ju ona me hwa plant ni inside Ghana for etiti ho na mo ye adwuma na I was so impressed. And under normal circumstances, me aye feasibility studies, research, investigation, by 3 months and son mechanica. But I'm sure send your Ghana for no at ho a year duma. Because you woman no, so bottle way and your certificate. Ghana for MCO school. Machine here, no one so packy. Yam paying for a Jabaka certificate in your town. The show your papa and I'm saying, my top, the Chiaka. Which you are $3,250,000. $3,250,000, you know, a far workers. Ghana for a year 345. And India for maintaining machines and so a year 15. Now, make case yourself so make you want to bring up a baby. Maybe my father could talk as I see what come to us. Who talk as I see what come to us and 1 acre. And $3 million. Who talk now the tour? How many workers now creative? How many workers are now creative? Maybe give me 3,250,000. I create employment for 345 Ghanaians. Now, Obi didn't be able to assassin. No, assassin way media. Assassin way media. As Abraham, as some sabe. The biggest challenge.
I don't see Kennedy Japan one or this answer way to the Oma one a young comfort memo for Ishaya one in more at a train common. I had to answer me so Edward consent from there. Yeguswa Ewo Dr. Mahmood Bawumia and Semis. Watch say a year 2024 about 2 year old my Ghana Hano. So call NPP menu konoma one or born Humodin ye papa paso Kasi Kapudwa will peja Eddie share party nima and yes kaketwa. Wabon Humodin ye papa panasasi caninia. Watch say 2028 about to watch saying couldn't be my pa a bit me ako Ediaman.
Abonti Mbaka 2024 elections. Sika mitime raising Emma party no ABC that ewo a party history. ABC that pickups are heading Medima constituencies over the regions, over 300 pickups. And say you see in the constituencies. Say in the constituencies, the pickups are being used.
Dr. Mahmood Bawumia wono ano this same way na etu dwa ehosa ye gina ni nsemi so na metwa me ho akwaje aboafo nkra to aba me ba nsem no meto aso edian.
Medogbe na mi Ghana duko do ajakple ho duko kata. Mi echo nyanyu ade ve na mi cho Talent Microfinance Limited Gajadopa. Mi wo na susu savings, adishare, school buafo, cashback, ple bubua okata. Nenye be egajom de mi agbo la leti etomegbe ko ateun aho gadodo. Kenenye be egajom vivi la nenye be o gahia ola ateun ava de o gai kene hia fa.
Tanenye be mi foncho mi afa jom yo kenye mi afa gadodo nyawa. Business loan elemiashi, church finance elemiashi, salary loan elemiashi, eye bubu li kenye personal loan. Nenye be mi foncho business loan a enye gadodo ikemie nana asichalao. Nenye be washiba keke alum eleswe we have talent. Mi pepegede nwo nenye washigba lesua ne woge wo kekegede ji to talent pomonu ome nenye be mi fonchu mi afa salary loan a enye gado mo ngike mi vuna mi afa jirudu dola nke ga nyu he ya va talent wo pay slip pe bank statement ye kwenye nwi hia o na kokko ho salary loan le rate mi to keke akeji church financier personal loan va nenye habobo masoli hama eji fufofo sankuo jitao olila ashibobwe kekeake mie flegeno na no hem v choji nto jinwade vare kwereka mo npopo kai ganyu he ya talent kuna kpohe ya ole chagbagba na do tare talent bena wo gado mo nwa anobobwe na mi akpena mi
etibe ya nyafi ke talent la
Talent Microfinance Jengo Amegan Shipe Ape Letina Tejipo Hotame
miape kapomo yenye 050-129-1298 alo 050-128-9119 talent woga kwamanu panta
Talent Microfinance, your channel of wealth.
Yo, I'm for and then Yamakwaba at the bar, a KFM musical shopper. The Tosumi, no, who free a Kumasa Macom that Damono, a sunny at the bar at Dumino, Sabran Udu, a Sambra Junction, Sambra Hotel, Quantana Sope. Now shop on any Sambra Hotel and the Dinja anymore. Would the free Sambra Hotel, a wood sunny at the co, Nankane and Hagan Hono, Annie, a hot and a KFM musical shop. Dear Tosumi, no, yet be no fofro. Now, dear Ekani said, if you dear papa, a timiche, the Odia sorry, dear Udi grow agro ahudo. Tuma dear be a woody over here, a young fiddy musical instrument piano, a KFM, into a say Ghana Muntie Asante Mai Muntie, a KFM musical shop, Anna Sabre, Yabian fofro Monuchai, a war Premper the 2nd Street. Ufri old man come down na wo sane ede ko adum no ane udu Sambra Hotel kwantane so na wa dane on sani fa so oho ana KFM musical shop yi ewo ye ne Sambra Hotel ana ehwe animo ye twa ho abrebia
gina me se me ya proud ana se me ye dwa me free Kumasi adum KFM instrument store obi bisa sa se bo men fo de wo to no woni sida wo de ne ma papa e gira wonim na wo to no wo say yes wo to no bibi aka wakoma ni nyina free KFM instrument store Kumasi adum se mi gira ho na me to no ma bitimi nya ho me ka fi se fi papa mu anim na mi gira no wo betra ye ko ma ya do se kana twa nanka kanau ensemfu ayi
ebusuafo egusua emama kwaba edama asise enyumremu gusu etmu TV ho amohwe no nsia kase ewo KFM TV no so mekai wo se kase boy etwegu ewo abe fonten tam video no so Facebook and YouTube KFM TV page eno to betimi ahwe bi na wa share na wa like na wa dwenche no so di egu ase ama me kama na meto ansem ne so edi ama odi anka ne mrahye bedwane na owo ododo abato ompesua so eye odmonyafo ni Lante Vanderpoy wono anabe kasa wochim se Endra da media encounter Mampeni John Dramani Mahama woni yensem chofo hia twetwe nkomo no wo mo have ye no chese kwaya Mampeni John Dramani Mahama efa so eyi nsem bisana no ade a wabone humodin ye papa nti abasobode kese ana wode ko edi amano.
I've picked from people looks like the only question people were not too happy. The only response people were not too happy with was his response on the issue of the Galamsey. I think people came there expecting that the president would say, yes, I've accepted state of emergency. You understand? And so listening to various media houses, people's reaction and all those things, it looks like that's the only question and the only response from him that people were not to. But I felt that he intelligently handled that question because he made it clear that yes, state of emergency, yes, I could do that. But that is when I have exhausted all the opportunities and the legal regimes available to me as a head of state. And I think we haven't. We still have this, we still have this, we still have this that we could use to do. And two, I've never thought that from day one, I've never thought that the fight against Galamsey was going to be an event. It's a process. And we started, we've done this, we've done that. We have this number of blue water guards. We're going to recruit more. This is what they are going to do. And this is what we are going to do. It tells you that there's a plan, there's a program. Maybe that plan and that program had not yielded the sort of results that people are looking at. And as we see today, every issue, every discussion about Galamsey have been heightened by the fear that have come as a result of the problems confronting the Ghana Water Company Limited. Obvious, you know, and the sort of attempt to pass that liability to us, the ordinary consumers, which may be justified though, because they will need the sort of resources they will need to be able to cure, to provide the service. So I think that is what the only response that has not generated that much appreciation from the public. But I think in the midst of that lack of appreciation from the public, I think the president really handled himself very well. His responses were apt.
My name is Mchofo Ekai na Ghana for do na ehwe nim se obe declare a state on emergency e de ama Galamsey no na wentimi anyesa ne mo wonu de owo gidie na wo san echimu se nsem Mampeni John Dramani Mahama di tudwa no nsem ana wo kan ne nsem a wo de etudwa na KFM TV enwume yen so yede bi abesomo na ye to ansem ne so edo akonsem from dia chairman Edima Odura Planning Committee mpunto hene nana awuku sechi wode abetudwa wo chese enam odwa afasha wo mu ebedi ntisese ade wo mu de tabno de ato noise making esu dede yonyumbo eni merry making ni nya no wo mu de tabno ato so aye 40 days se ne be ya wo mbetimi abom homodin ma odwa afashe no etimi akoso tote ede ama woni sema wode etudwa na nyumbe yen so ye to aso ede ama.
We all know why today is special. From today, September 10th, we have the Adaibutu ceremony. And this will take place, marking the beginning of a period of 40 days of quiet reflection, spiritual cleansing, and preparation. There will be a ban on noise making, a ban on funerals, a ban on merrymaking as we usher in Udra. And this must be strictly observed by everyone, chiefs, elders, citizens at large. The traditional lineup for Ojura has not changed. On Monday, October 20th, we have the path clearing. Tuesday, October 21st, we bring the Ojura adoring the new year with Krubi. We leave the band on drumming and dancing. And then on Wednesday, October 22nd, we remember the departed. Thursday, October 23rd, day of feasting and cleansing. Friday, October 24th, and with the grand Ukwapiman Deba. And then on Sunday, Air Presida, October 26th, we have the interdenominational church service and the Abeya Wahaya. And then Friday, October 31st, and we have Fida Fufi. The whole program takes place during the month of October, from October 20th. I encourage each and every one of us to get involved. Offer your time, offer your talents, offer your resources and your presence, or simply by spreading the word and encouraging others to participate. Together we can ensure that Ujura 2025 is not just a success, but will become a lasting benchmark for future generations. I thank you, and may the spirit of Ujura guide us all towards a festival of excitement, adventure, and bonding. An Ujura festival that will make us all proud as Upakman and impact all the Equatorians.
And until some way, Anampunto Hene, a chairman Edima, Ojura committee, no wode, ebe to giants, be ebe someone. I to answer so Edwa consent from the now what we and ebe to just a copimo abuso kaya, a spare part de less or more honor, or more HS, a Nigeria foul, most of my veggie shops near dear or more eton idea, no more shops, no more end to tuni near more, and I'm so many day. A year aboso kind spare part dealers association no impenifa wo mu die nim no ene wo mo chairman Henry Ochre a year junior woni a year Nigerian Traders a year Nigerian Union of Traders Association a wo mo so wo mo kwa wo mo eton spare parts ni bi no wo mo Asia a year Ghana for HS wo mo de wo mo gina sie na wo mo sino eno ana wo mo Asia wo mo siso mo adwin de biada esan se sa wo mo demand no e ya dia Ghana penifo eta echa a Ghana Investment Promotion Center, womo eta womo chi de dendi a womo hwese sa foreigners na womo shops no wo betimi atutum edi ama wo.
Foreign counterparts, the Nigerians, I think the group is NUTAG, right? NUTAG. So good afternoon to the NUTAG group. Good afternoon to my executives. I greet everybody this afternoon. We all know the reason why we are here today. I think on 8th September, we started an exercise in Abosokan here, spare parts dealers, on behalf of our members to address issues arising here, problems and challenges that we are facing in our markets. So today is the third day, which we said we will meet all the executives, the Nigerian executives, to at least tell them why we are embarking on the exercise. So we've called them today, and they are here with us. And also we thank them very much for complying with the exercise within the 3 days. So what we are saying is very clear and short. It's the law, GIPC law, and I quote and I say, by law, section 27 of the Act 1, no, section 101, let me say, by law 27 of Act 865, foreigners cannot engage in retail trading in markets, kiosks, or stores. These are reserved strictly for Ghanaians.
ɛno nti nsɛm wei ana aboso kan spare part dealers no wɔ mo de to dwa hɔ sa yɛ to ansɛm ne so ɛde wa concentrate from there do kopie mo ɛwɔ motorway na abeto dwa sɛ ɛyɛ water pipeline ba kwa ɛwɔ hɔ no ɛno asɛe ama nsuo no bua na ebu egu so ɛno ɛyɛ ade bi a ɛha adwen yie papaapa na ne nya ne sɛ wɔ mo ɛkyɛ sɛ construction work bi a ɛkɔ so hɔ no ɛno ɛnenam so ma saa pipe yi apaya womo ɛkyem se ukopie mu ɛwɔ motorway ahyia man ya de kopie mu ɛwɔ tatakwashi no womo kyem se ho ana sanso yi apai ɛtinia kopie mu ho na ɛno ano mo kyɛ se ɛno ɛyɛ ade bi a amansuo ho ayɛ de yie papaapa ɛde ama timemufo a womo ɛwɔ sampotemi ɛno nti sesi ade womo frempenifoɔ se nimu ya womo ntimi ntwa womo ni ɛmbɛhwɛ wɔ na saa pipe apai no womo embesiesie na de ɛkɔso no de ɛyɛ ade a womo ni ɛngye ho yie kakrakra nsɛm wei ana ende enyume so yede abesom a efi eye tema ene ne mpotem eba yegyina so na madane me ho sima ba me ba me de nsem no ekɔ edwadi emu edwadi emu ade ama ode Ghana man penny His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wode abetudwa wo chem se si ade o my Ghana ne Bank of Ghana se si ade eye forest market no ade Ghana etimi abom homodin eyom ho efrim Bank of Ghana enso eyom ho efrim ni ane se Ghana se si aye sidi no ade a ejina ne nice ye papa na se na ejina ne nice so dollar ne so akonenim ede ama ye no ade bi a aboa moman no etimi akonenim ama ye sikasem so ejina ne nice enu nti ene de dwe womo etimi eyom ho ede efri sansem we emu anase ye forest market no womo etimi eyom ho ede efrim no chese Bank of Ghana se si ade eba na ye sikasem a womo ebo edwuma ye papa womo eyom ho muni Ministry of Finance eni eye Finance Minister Dr. Kese Atoforsin womo ina na aka boma womo ebo edwuma ye papa sisi ade eye forest market no metimi abom homodin ama Ghana yesu yetimi eyiye ho ede efrim semwe ma Penny John Dramani Mahama wono ano de betu dwa endrada eye September bosmenida etosu edu ewa afimpini ni edu no ennom emra woni nsemtwofo hia ya woni womo etwetwen komo ho ana de sansemu na etu dwa ye nso enwumri ye de bi abesomo se edwedie ensem ye gina so na edwedie ensem no mede ni aba na wiye na madane me ho sem aba me ba mede ensem no ekọ enigedie ya dewo ekọ enigedie ensem dia National Film Authority NFA mpenifor dia betudwo mo chese wo made in National Film Dialogue no dwumedie no wo mo de be hyehye so wo September abosumini da etoso du insia wo afimpini ni eduonu enum na dwumedie ye bekọ so wo CD Conference Center wo University of Ghana Legon ana dwumedie kasewe wo mo de be hyehye so ho na Executive Secretary edema NFA Kafui Danko wono ana ode sansemu na betudwa wo chese dwumedie ade a the filmmakers, producers, distributors, any policy makers ahodo na ene beba bepiem ewodwumede na se a wo mo behwe ama Ghana ye film industry no ene creative art industry no etimi akonenim ye papa de amai no nti Kafui Danko wono anode abetudwa wo chem se dwumede we wo September bosmeni da etosu do insia wo afimpinu ni eduono enum ana bekoso wo CD Conference Center wo University of Ghana Legon ana dwumede kesiwe bekoso ye gina so na enwume ye de nigede ensem eni no nsia kase no medeni nia aba na ewie ye ensem no na edoso ye papa na de di mu akotini ebi enese Mampeni John Dramani Mahama echemu se West African deportees best 14 and Donald Trump deportee omo wo mo ekọ wo mo emaimu ye de mu nchemu ye de ebesomo sa enso so anaboso kan Spare Part Dealers Association wo mo ne NUTAC for Asia ya wo mo ekasa de fa kwan befa so a wo mo nkawatawe wɔn betimi aso ano yɛde mu ntwe mu yɛde bɛsom wɔ enwumere ɛwɔ no nsia kase no ɛso mede adwede nsɛm ɛka ho de ma mampani John Dramani Mahama HM says sesi at the Bank of Ghana ɛyɛ forest market no wɔn betimi eyi ɔmo ho ɛde efiri mu wɔn ani gyede nsɛm no ɛyɛ Kafui Danko National Film Authority wɔn kyerɛ sɛ wɔn first National Film Dialogue no ɛbɛkɔ so wɔ September bosomini da ɛtɔ so du nsia ɛwɔ afimpinini edu no enum wɔn ani nsɛm ɛne afoforo pi enwumere yɛ boa no a ɛyɛ me ɔkenkanfo yi mede ɛbɛso mo sɛ no nsia kase ɛwɔ KFM TV ne so dwumeko bi adaroma ana wɔn ɛbɔ metwi dɔm a mede kase boy mede bɛso mo yɛbɛda Talent Microfinance Dadaba Tech Hub ana KFM Musical Center yɛbɛda wɔn ase sɛ abibia no wɔn timi ɛbɔ yɛtwi dɔm a yɛde kase yɛde ɛbɛso mo yɛda production team ni na so ase sɛ wɔn so etimi ɛsɔ yɛ sinema yɛde news yɛde ɛbrɛ ɔkenkanfo a enumere wote me nka no edin a megye so ɛne Maame Esi Nkrumah yɛma mu ina adwo